We're moving to 2.1. It's the derivative and the tangent line question. The limit definition of the derivative is f prime of x equals, the limit as h approaches 0, of f of x plus h minus f of x, the whole thing divided by h. And that'll give me the derivative generically, f prime of x. This other one down here is called the alternate form of the derivative. This one gives me the derivative at a point. So it's f prime of c equals the limit as x approaches c of f of x minus f of c all over x minus c. You're going to see that a lot of our previous skills we learned, rationalizing, common denominator, all that is going to come back into effect on this. We're going to be doing section 2.1, 13 to 39, and 61 to 65, all odds. The derivative is a rate of change. Many times it is also considered the slope. You could probably look at number 13 and tell me the slope of the line. That is the derivative. But we're going to do it this way. We're going to do the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x, the whole thing divided by h. If I know what f of x is, how do I find f of x plus h? You replace every x with x plus h. So x plus h. So what would that give me for this first part? Negative 5x minus 5h. Now I have to fill in what f of x is, which is my original. If you do it properly, they're going to add to 0, giving me this, making the derivative negative 5. As I said earlier, it was a derivative is a slope. This is a line. Perhaps you already knew that this was y equals mx plus b, and you might have known the slope already. I usually don't give you lines. Lines are a little bit too easy, just like I didn't give you the constant on problem number, I think, 9 either. Can you look at this and tell me what the answer is going to be? The slope? Well, it would be mx plus b, wouldn't it? So what's the slope? I already know my answer, f prime of x equals 2/3, because that's considered its slope. If you want, I could fill in x plus h. What would that give me? 3 plus 2/3 x plus 2/3 h minus the f of x. Use parentheses whenever you subtract. And the whole thing divided by h. We're doing the limit as h approaches 0. Again, if you do it properly, 3 and negative 3 will add to 0. 2/3 x, negative 2/3 x will add to 0. Leaving me this divided by this, which gives you your answer up here. What I would ask, if you look at the next question, this is not linear. I cannot look at this and tell you the slope or the derivative without using either previous knowledge or some way. I mean, obviously I know the derivative is 2x plus 1, but we're going to work through it. Remember, you have to find the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x, the whole thing over h. Do we know what f of x is? It's given. X squared plus x minus 3. What I don't know is f of x plus h. You find that by replacing every x with x plus h. So I'm going to fill in place of x's x plus h. Filled it in for that x and that x, right? Anyway, square your binomial. You square the first, twice the product, and square the last. Plus the x plus the h, and also a minus 3. Again, if we did this properly, x squared and negative x squared would add to 0. X and negative x, negative 3 and positive 3. So everything that remains here, 2xh plus h squared plus h, each one is divided by h. So what does that give me? The limit as h approaches 0 of 2x plus h plus 1. If you replace the h with a 0, because that's what h is approaching, you end up with your derivative to be, like I said initially, 2x plus 1. 19 is a cube. I usually don't give cubes on the first go round on the test. I usually save them for makeups and retakes. The reason being, people struggle cubing a binomial. It would become x cubed plus 3x squared h plus 3xh squared plus h to the third. This would be minus 12x and minus 12h. Don't forget, when you subtract, to use parentheses. We're doing the limit as h approaches 0. So I fill in my original function, x cubed minus 12x. The answer is going to be 3x squared minus 12. Once you learn how to find derivatives, it's not that hard. But what is x cubed and a negative x cubed? Negative 12x, positive 12x. They should add to 0. So that leaves me 3x squared h plus 3xh squared plus h to the third minus 12h. They're all divided by h, leaving me 3x squared plus 3xh plus h to the second minus 12. Remember to replace the h's with a 0 here and here. So your derivative now is going to end up being 3x squared minus 12. I hope these help as an introduction. Bring in some questions, please. We're going over 2.1 now.